In this video, we are going to discuss what are namespaces in C# programming. Namespaces are some C# program elements which are mainly designed to organize your classes or the entire programs, or it is used to help in avoiding name clashes between two sets of code. We will see an example for all these things. So you just understand it is a program element which is designed. One is to organize, the other one is to avoid name clashes between two sets of code. If you take namespaces, they are used in C# programming in two different ways. One, it is the .NET framework uses namespaces to organize its many different classes that are available. One example we often use in our program is system.console.writeLine. Here system is the namespace. Inside this namespace we have a class called console. Inside console I have a method called writeLine method. And if I want to use this particular method in my program, I can use using directive, which can be used so that complete name is not required. We will see examples again. The second way of using namespaces is you can declare your own namespaces, which can help you control the scope of class and method names in larger programming projects. So when you have a very large program, what you can do, all the related classes can be grouped together. Then these groupings can be given a namespace name so that you get a collection of related classes for your program. That is the advantage of having your own namespace in your program, for which you will be using the namespace keyword. This is an example of how you can declare your own namespace. I am using namespace keyword here. I give a namespace name. Inside this namespace, I am declaring a class which is having the main method, so that this class collection is coming under sample namespace, which is my own namespace I have declared here. Let us see some examples to make it more clear. This is the simple example which we have discussed now. I declare a namespace. I give a namespace name and I am declaring a class for it. I am declaring a main method and I just display a message. So this class is defined inside a namespace called sample. You can have namespaces nested also. This is an example. I define a namespace with AAA as the namespace name. Inside this namespace, I define another namespace inside which I am going to design a class that displays a method again. This is also possible. Now the same can be declared like this. I define a namespace with nesting of names. Observe here, nesting of names is given here itself, so that I use namespace only once. Then I declare a class, then the main method, and I display a message. So this class is coming under a namespace called AAA.BBVB. Now when you use your class or method in your program, you have to always give a fully qualified name. You have to give a fully qualified name. Fully qualified name is nothing but as you use system.console.writeLine. That is the fully qualified name. right from the first namespace to method is what you call as fully qualified name. For example, here I am declaring a namespace. I give a namespace name and I am declaring a class here hello, and I declare a method inside that particular class that displays a message. Observe here, again I am declaring another namespace inside which I declare a class, and I am declaring again a method, the same class name, same method name I am defining inside another namespace, and I display a message. And inside a main method I am declaring a class, object for which I am using the namespace name and the class name. Namespace name and the class name. Observe here, if you have name conflicts, because if you are going to simply say the class name as hello, the system cannot identify whether it is second or first. So what you have to do, you have to use the fully qualified name right from the right from the namespace name and the class name. You declare an object h1 which is of the hello class of first namespace, h2 is the hello class of second namespace. Then you can invoke the methods. So this is how you can avoid name conflict. So in your program you want to have same class name for two different descriptions, include it in two different namespaces. That is the advantage. Now if you don't want to use the fully qualified name again and again in your program, you can use the using directive. So what you can do, we have already seen console.writeLine. Instead of that I can use system here in the using directive, then directly I can use console.writeLine. The same way, here what I am going to do, I am going to declare a namespace. Again I am declaring another namespace, second. Observe here, I have used the using directive. Inside the namespace first I am declaring class called hello. Inside namespace second I am declaring a class called welcome. And observe here, since I have already used the using directive, I am not giving fully qualified name, I just use the method name. Not method name, just use the class name here, then you can invoke the methods. This is the advantage here. Now another thing in the namespace is using the alias directive. Suppose say for example, if your fully qualified name is larger, then you need not use it again and again. So what you can do, you can use an alias for that. Observe here, instead of having aaa.bbb.example, I am going to use it as abc. So what I am doing here, I am just declaring the main method and the abc.print. So when I say abc.print, automatically it will be converted to aaa.bbb.example.print. That is so it will be using the alias name instead of using the fully qualified name which is larger. Let us see an example from the terminal. Let me open the terminal. This is again another example. Observe here, I am using system. I am using another alias here. Here I am using for the standard methods also, I can use an alias. So instead of using system.console, I am going to use out. Then I am declaring the main method. I am having a separate namespace. aaa.bbb is the namespace name inside which I have the class example. and inside the example I have a print method. And instead of using this namespace dot example dot print, I am using abc dot print to invoke this particular method. And you can observe here in the myPrint method, here I have used console.writeLine and I have displayed a message. Apart from that, instead of using system.console, what I have given, I have already given out as an alias name. I am using out.writeLine and some message to be displayed. So when I run this program, abc.print will invoke this particular method and displays this message, and myPrint will invoke this method and it displays this message, and the out.writeLine, out will be converted into system.console, then it will be displaying this particular message. So let me run this program and show you the output. You can see here it is displaying all the messages that are given in the WriteLine method. This is the advantage of using the alias.